year now, we've had to deal with the pandemic and everything. How did that change for you in how you were teaching? And did you have to do online also?
Yes. It was a complete 180 for a lot of us. Just going from in class, in person, touching, holding, hugging the kids, to stay away. Everything's being taught online, hey, turn off the TV, come back to me, like little brother has to leave the room. You got it. It was hard because we taught online for the remainder of that school year. And then teachers just had to like figure out how to create lessons to put online when we were not used to doing that. And starting, like, I guess this past school year when school started, we taught online and in person. Like the school that I was at, we were a 50-50. So I was teaching kids here and kids here. And that was difficult because no one's ever done that before. So that, yeah, like technology usage, I think all of us are much better at knowing how to maneuver around a computer now, which is good. A lot of new technology, trying to think, like just programs, software, all of that we've become very familiar with. And even at the end of this year, we were talking, I really like this, and this. I'm going to probably incorporate that still next year, even though we're all going to be back in the classroom. I think these are some really good platforms to use for technology, and the kids were using it just as much as we were. So for them to have to not have that, they might get bored or lose certain skills that we don't want to do. So, but yeah, that was fun.
Sure. Well, and you have two girls, right? So how was that with you teaching plus also helping them out?
Well, I've got a son and a daughter. So Catherine was, she's middle school. And then Edward was going into 4th grade. So those were not fun times, actually, because luckily my principal allowed the kids to come to school with me when we were teaching remotely. So I had them in my classroom set up so I could watch them, monitor them. And then I was teaching, but then, Wi-Fi signals were having issues, and we had a hotspot and like drained within 30 minutes. And then the Louisville website crashed for the first day of school. So it was just like, it was pretty stressful with trying to do that. Or even when we were all home back in March and April, and I'm teaching from the table and recording lessons to put on for the kids. And Edward had his class in the bedroom, and I'm talking, singing songs. And he's like, Mommy, my teacher asked for you to be quiet. I'm like, well, I'm teaching right now, like, I'm sorry, close the door. Sada can't tell you what, but, and then just monitoring, like, okay, in between my classes, mute myself. And I'm like screaming down the hall, like, Catherine, you're supposed to be logging into social studies, that was difficult because I was the only parent home with the kids, with the job, with, everything going on. So yeah, that was mind-blowing stress. Yeah. A lot of gray hairs were developed.
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, okay, so that leads into a great question, which is what do you do when you are stressed, when you are overwhelmed?
Well, I've actually started picking up kayaking. So I bought a couple kayaks. There's Louisville Lake down the street. I've gone and kayaked by myself a few times. I have a friend that goes with me who's taught me the ropes. We went to Colorado this summer and we took the kayaks with us, and the kids just enjoyed it. So if on the weekends when I can do that, I go kayak. Other than that, I do my water aerobic class, which is like a kickboxing in the pool, which is really good because you can punch things and kick things. So that lets out a lot of aggression depending on days. And then when we weren't able to do any of that with COVID, I mean, I think my yard was probably like the cleanest yard in the whole neighborhood because I would mow it 3 times a week because I was like, I didn't have anything else to do. Not so much now, but I have to get outside and do something with my hands, get dirty, get sweaty, get, in the water somehow, some way. So.
Right, that's great. Something physical, really.
Yes, it's got to be something physical for me to like get my aggression out or get my, zone out.
That's wonderful. All right. So what are inner blocks, that negative talk that holds you back or held you back?
There's a lot of, I know that I had like in getting ready to go to college, not having enough money. I remember my dad saying, well, you're not going to college. We don't have money for that. And of course my mom saying she'll take out student loans, stuff like that. She'll work her way through, which is what I did. I joke about me being on like the 7-year plan for a bachelor's, but it's, I spent 4 years, like I had to pay for my classes at the community college while I was working at the Y. And then I had to save up enough money to pay cash for my first year at UNT before I was allowed to apply for financial aid. So it was, there was a lot of like, oh, I don't have the money for this. I don't have the money for this. Or I'm not, with me doing community college and just kind of, I don't know, just doing what I wanted, I guess. That looks like a fun class. That looks like a fun class. Like, well, that didn't really add up to like a certain degree. So it was like, okay, now I have to really get serious. What am I going to do? What am I going to major in? How am I going to get out of UNT the fastest without having to take all these extra classes? I was trying to work the smartest route to get out with the degree versus starting all over again, so to speak. And then just the fear of like, I don't think I'm smart enough for this class. I barely passed it with a C, and that's not good, and brought my GPA down. But I'm like, I'm just not that like right-brained type person. I'm more of a left brain. So kind of having some inner dialogue about I'm not smart enough to finish that class or so. And I know I struggle that now with wanting to get my master's in education. I'm always like, I don't think I'm smart enough to be able to pass that class. I see what my coworkers are going through, and I'm just like, they're stressed out. And I think there's some really smart people. I'm like, oh, there's no way I can make that happen. So, I mean, I still struggle with, I know I can't do it. There's not enough money. Now I struggle with, there's not enough time to go get a master's, so I had those inner dialogues still to this day. Yeah.
And how do you try to overcome them? What do you do, or do you just let it fester?
In the past, I overcame them. Like I said, I ended up applying for financial aid and made it through, and paid my student loans for 10 years, got those paid off right before my daughter was born. Just, you find a way to make the money work, with priorities. Currently with the whole master's, I'm festering with it now just because I'm just like, I don't know if it's a good time, or should I wait till the kids get a little bit older, or wait till they're in college, then I can go back. I don't know. I know that I'm wasting my time, or procrastinating, I guess would be the better word to say for that. And of course my wife is like, if you want it, you'll find a way to do it. And I'm like, but I like to sleep my 8 hours a night. I can't stay up to midnight and then wake up at 5. Like, I can't do that. If you want it, you can do it. And I'm like, I don't want to, so I think, she'll be supportive. She'll push me. But I think, just kind of nervous about just, taking with the GRE and just getting back into the school stuff of things and being organized. I'm just, it nerves me. So right now it's procrastination.
You got to work through it and get
I do.
to start it. So Colleen sounds like she's been very supportive to you.
Yeah.
How, or if any, have you had any challenges with being out and having a wife and being in Texas?
With teaching, I've always, like, my coworkers have always known, I don't really like share that information with my students just because it is Texas. And I've always felt like, I want people to get to know me for me. And then when the time is right, I start mentioning, my family members or this or that. And then it kind of just comes out, and they're like, they've gone to they've gotten to know me for me. And like my current partner teacher this year, this past year, I had her for 2 years. I think I was the only gay person she'd ever met in her life. And but she knew me for me. We worked close together, and you know, she changed her mind on a lot of, you know, GLBTQ things. Some things she still doesn't understand and she doesn't get, but you know, having me as a friend for her, it really opened her eyes for a lot of stuff. So I think, you know, in a way, education for coworkers is important. You know, I remember going to one training, and it was like a week-long training, and nobody knew about me or anything like that. And I kept everything very quiet. And I remember just feeling so sick inside, like physically, my stomach was just torn up. And I would call Colleen at night, like, you know, this is so hard to be closed and closeted. Like, I've not been closeted, and these people don't know who I am, and I can't be me. And like, I'm like sick to my stomach. And I remember telling like my roommate at the time, we shared the hotel room, and she was like, "Oh, girl, please, you know," and then she was asking, you know, so it made it a lot better after getting it off my chest. So I know I know for me physically, I cannot be someone that I'm not really, you know, I can't play a part, and me still be able to um, feel me. So yeah. It works out. I've only had, I think, one person that has had issues, but the principal stuck up for me and was like, you know, you can't do that. Like, that's discrimination, da 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 da. So, but so far so good. And yeah.